targeted. Rachel's day was the smallest little act of kindness and compassion can ripple out.
Rachel wanted to reach out to the unreached kids, the kids who were socially isolated, picked on or ignored, and also to people who were brand new, just got lost in the masses.
Some people only reach out to people that they're easy to reach out to or easy to talk to. What about the kid that has no social skills? Or the person who nobody else talks to, who's shy and withdrawn? Rachel would reach out to those people. Actually, she targeted those people.
Now, earlier I mentioned two of Rachel's goals that she's already accomplished: starting changing acts of kindness and in touch the hearts of millions.
President Clinton was touched by Rachel's story and met with Rachel's family on several occasions to talk about issues of school violence. President Bush and his wife Laura also met with the Scott family and even wrote a letter recommending Rachel's challenge to groups like yours. Singers and musicians like Michael W. Smith, Lee Greenwood, Elton John, and the Dave Matthews Band have honored Rachel in books and concerts. Professional athletes have been inspired by Rachel's challenge to make a difference in the lives of others. Her family shared her story on Oprah, CNN, Today Show, Larry King Live, The O'Reilly Factor, Hannity and Combs, and many other television programs. Over 30 books have been written about her life by different authors. A short movie about Rachel won first place at New York's Tribeca Film Festival, hosted by Robert De Niro. 2 television documentaries have been made about her life, and a major motion picture is currently in the works. Her dad, Daryl, and her stepmom, Sandy, started Rachel's Challenge, which has now become the largest school assembly program in America. Millions of young people hear Rachel's story every year in middle schools, high schools, colleges, and universities. America's Strongest Man, Shane Hammond, has broken 27 American records and several world records. Shane retired from the Olympics to become a speaker for Rachel's Challenge. Chuck Norris, 6-time world champion in martial arts, was so moved by Rachel's story that he dedicated his autobiography to Rachel's memory.
And actually, this book is dedicated to Rachel Scott.
From Miss America to the strongest man in the USA, from presidents to pro athletes, and from Elton John to Chuck Norris, Rachel showed us that little acts of kindness can make a huge difference in the lives of other people.
On May 2nd, 1998, Rachel, at age 16, wrote a startling 3-sentence entry in her diary.
This will be my last year, Lord. I've gotten what I can. Thank you.
Just out of the blue, she goes, "I'm going to die young." And we looked at her like, "Why do you say that?" And she's like, "I think I'm going to die young."
And she used to tell me that she didn't think she would live to be very old.
Rachel was always talking about, the fact that she was going to die young. And I'll talk about that she was going to make an impact on the world. But when she talked about both of those things, it was kind of the same. Neither one carried any more weight than the other. And she was always so comfortable with it. Just like it was a fact. Saying, the sky is blue. It's no big deal. And she was always completely at peace with that.
What was she thinking? What was she feeling? Why did she feel like she wasn't going to live to be very old?
She knew she was going to die young. She knew she was going to change the planet. And in the end, that's exactly what she did.
And there was more. Just weeks before her death, Rachel wrote poems that were out of character with her joyful and carefree nature. They predicted a fate no one could have imagined.
I'm dying. Quickly my soul leaves. Slowly my body withers. It isn't suicide. I consider it homicide. The world you have created has led to my death.
And a short time after Rachel wrote that poem, that she died of homicide victim, Tim Moriarty at Columbine. She was one of 13 people that were killed that day. And about 6 weeks after her funeral, her father told me he received the strangest phone call he's ever received in his entire life. He said, a man called up, said, "Hello, Mr. Scott. My name is Frank. And you're probably going to think I'm crazy when you hear what I call. Now, I'm a practical businessman. I'm not mystical or spooky. I don't even put a lot of stock in people's dreams or visions. But I've had recurring dreams night after night about your daughter's eyes. And in this dream, would call to see if this has any meaning to you or your family. Today, Frank is good friends with Scott, and Daryl had the opportunity to meet with him and record that phone call.
I had this vision of the eyes of a girl, of a sweet girl, and out of those eyes were coming tears, and the tears were pouring to the ground, and something was beginning to grow out of the ground. Life was coming out of the ground. And I asked Daryl if he had this any meaning for him, and he said no.
When Daryl said no, Frank got quiet. And he said, would you write down my name and number and call me if this has any meaning to Rachel's family? And Daryl told me he didn't know why, but he wrote down his name and number, put it away in the drawer, and he never speak to him again. But 7 days later, he received another call. This time from the sheriff's department. They said, Mr. Scott, we have your daughter's backpack, and it's ready to be picked up. There were several bullet holes in that backpack, and the police were keeping it as evidence. So Daryl told me he rushed down to the station, took her bag out of the car, and started going through it in his vehicle. He told me he found her final diary on the backpack. And like any parent wanted to know what was the last thing Rachel wrote before she was killed. And so he told me he took out the diary, flipped to the last page, and found her son. He was looking at a drawing that had been described to him by a man that lived over 1,000 miles away at the time, in Colorado, Fayetteville, Ohio. He couldn't possibly know what Rachel drew the final moments of her life. Daryl looked closely, he noticed there were the eyes and the tears, and when they hit the road, they become blood drops. But before they got blood drops, he counted the 13 clear tears. Within moments of drawing, 13 people were killed that day, and nature and false students. Rachel also drew the same rose on another page, but this time it wasn't growing out of the ground, but out of another flower. The Colorado State flower, the Columbine plant. Columbine had it for the name of the school. And her teacher, Mrs. Carruthers, saw her drawing a picture of the eye.
On April 20th, 1999, the day that Rachel died, approximately 10 minutes before the end of the class period, I saw her drawing, and I asked her about it. And she said to me, well, Mrs. Carruthers, it's not finished, but I was inspired to draw this. Then she looked at me and said, Mrs. Carruthers, I'm going to be an impact on the world.
This is the final picture that was taken of Rachel. It was taken 3 nights before at her high school prom. Now, before I close, I'd like to share with you a final tribute to Rachel. But I also want to honor the memories of people that you raised your hands for at the beginning of the assembly.
But she was the kind of person who just you could automatically recognize that they were a good person.
I never used to pick on people, but she influenced me. Now I can help. Now I can make a difference in other people.
She knew she was going to die young. She knew she was going to change the planet, and in the end, it's exactly what she did.
Sometimes you just don't realize at the time the impact that a simple act of kindness will have on your life.
I will hold the box, you can't